We're now live.
Okay, so we are now convening the Town of Hanover Select Board meeting for December 15th, 2025. Looking at the agenda, looking at my fellow Select Board members, Jenny is online. Thank you, Jenny. Are there any agenda items for which Select Board members might wish to reorder?
No.
No. Seeing none. Okay. Time for public comment. This is the period of the agenda which members of the public can address the Select Board. You are limited to 5 minutes. This is for topics that are not on the agenda. All comments should be directed to me. Are there any members of the Select Board who wish to address members of the public who wish to address the Select Board at this time? Yes, Peter, if you could please come forward and if you could state your name and your.
Make sure that there's no one else who wishes to make any comments at this.
Well, we will take them one at a time. Why don't you come forward?
Because part of what I have to say is important. There should be no need to introduce myself.
Well, if you could nonetheless introduce yourself. We have the TV audience, et cetera. So,
All right. Well, Pete Zandron, White River Junction, no missing me. And part of it is here to be like first item I need here to comment on is something I've had to speak with your counterparts across the river regarding transit. I mean, apparently many of the bus drivers from the different companies do not realize that there's no longer a construction detour now that the construction over at the arts area near the green is over. And some drivers do go by the stop. I mean, and to call it a transit center, as I should remind people, under New Hampshire law, to be a proper transit center, that they must be able to people must be able to purchase tickets as they're able to do in Concord, Manchester, and other locations. And we're not or even down the road from here over for the coach. And that's causing a problem for me and others. I've been working to address this with their counterparts over in Vermont. For some reason, half the people over there are unwilling to address it. So that's one thing. I mean, there should be somewhere over here we should be able to buy and sell tickets. And one other thing with transit, which I've had to bring to your counterparts' attention in Vermont. There have been some concerning posts I have noticed on the internet regarding the transit out here made by some troublemakers from outside the region. I mean, I'm not sure how to best disseminate it or if I should best disseminate it, because I have it. Some drivers are able to understand it, and as well as other officials, some are having problems, but people don't realize. It's like 2 years ago when I first moved over here, I was falsely accused of starting a fire in Rhode Island. I mean, I was able to successfully clear my name. The problem was some troublemakers down here figured out about the coach, came over here. The cops were able to at least get rid of most of the troublemakers, as the kind of behavior down here is not tolerated. But still, it's still a problem that persists. If there's some way I could contact you guys, as well as your counterparts in Vermont, to best address it via email or other, please let me know. And that leads to one other thing, which it's been a pain in the ass having to deal with the past 48 hours. Because, I mean, but at least one thing, people in the at least here tonight, have not made any comments on the recent shooting at Brown. And but I've had to get quite a few negative attitudes about that. Who contacted me from Brown's administration during that shooting is alarming. So far, no one from Dartmouth has issued has issued any statements. And for now, I'm grateful for that. But this is what I've had to say before after what happened at the protest. The way Dartmouth's administration is behaving is repeating the same mistakes that Brown's administration made over the past 2 decades, which led up to this. And something like what happened I have to pass through Brown on my way to an event in Newport while traveling in the next few days. It happened down there. It could easily happen up here. The way, as I said, the way that this administration is behaving over here, some people here, at least you guys in town, are willing to listen, but others are not willing to listen. That is how incidents like that happen. And for those listening tonight, listen to me and others who deal strictly with the facts. I mean, anyone from up here knows. Back everything you can say. And this is what we're trying to warn. So please, at least listen to those of us who are trying to head it off. Don't try to let something like that happen up here.
Okay, thanks, Pete. Are there other members of the public who wish to address the select board at this time? No, okay. Seeing none, let us move on to announcements and employee recognition. I believe there is some employee recognition this month. I guess there is every month, but go ahead, Rob.
In the packet, you have a list of employees and their anniversary date. None of them are identified to be recognized because we recognize in the 5-year anniversary cycle. But we do have some key long-term employees that I want to shout out to. Kate Bass, 14 years. Jim Cray, 14 years. Jared Janesh, 11 years. Pete Kabaki, 28 years. And Chris McEwen, 33 years. And it's a credit to the town and the community that have the employment situation with this kind of stability is a significant milestone for our municipality.
Yes, it is. We thank all of them for their
Continued service.
Yes, thank you. Okay. So let's move on to business requiring discussion. First item, the only item is the digitization pilot briefing. Kind of exciting, actually.
Really kind of cool. I was like, oh, maybe I could do this at my office.
I've just promoted John. John, if you could join as a panelist. And I will stop sharing screen. John?
Awesome. I think I'm on. Awesome. Well, great to meet everyone. Let's see. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Yeah, so my name is John Devine, and I've been working with Rob on a pilot that looks at how we can use AI to help digitize some of the paper permitting and planning records currently at Town Hall. So you guys probably know Hanover, like a lot of town, has a lot of paper permit and planning records going back to the early 20th century. These are taking up a lot of space at Town Hall and unfortunately make it pretty difficult to do property history research. So a little about me, I'm an urban planner and a software developer. I recently did my master's of city planning at MIT. While there, I was a researcher at the Civic Data Design Lab. And before that, I spent about a decade working as an urban planner and GIS specialist in Dallas, my hometown, where I worked for a few nonprofits as well as the city government. 2 years ago, I founded a company called Civic Atlas. That's a software company that works with local governments, nonprofits, and commercial real estate entities to use AI to get more useful information from government records. I think some notable past clients have been the Fairfax County Economic Development Authority, as well as a few, the Dallas Free Press, a newspaper back in Dallas, and then a few developers and home builders. So for this pilot, I started by scanning a little over 300 documents, both permitting and planning records, to see what some of the challenges would be to digitize the full archive. What you see here is an example of one case folder down in the archives. So you can see there's a lot of different records that get bundled together. You get permit applications, maps, site inspection reports, kind of all thrown together in one folder. And so talking with Rob, kind of the big goal here is, can we get all these documents, extract the data digitally, and then tie it to the town's parcel map and GIS system? To do this, I've been working on developing a workflow that uses AI to accomplish this. So I start by scanning one of these cases manually, getting that into a PDF document. From there, I use LLMs, large language models, so like ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini, to go in and parse that document. So no matter how many different files all end up in the same folder, the AI is actually really good at recognizing different documents, splitting it into smaller PDFs, and then assigning names to each file based on the contents. From there, the AI can also pull out the date of the document, its case or permit number, and then we can do human review to make sure that the dates match up and all that is right. I've also developed a digital permit scraper that works with the city's current digital system to pull permits and add them to the same database. From there, we're able to link all the records to specific parcels on the tax map, and then all these documents and data and JS files are then hosted on Amazon Web Services. And from there, it can be used for whatever application the city wants, including its current AccessJS parcel map. So as kind of a proof of concept, I put together a prototype web app that shows what we can do with all this data. Bear with me for a moment. So what you see here is actually just all the files from a single drawer down in the basement. It's kind of north up on Lime Road. When I click on a parcel, what we have here is actually a full AI-generated case history. So that's all the permits and planning-related cases that happen to that parcel that I scanned as part of the pilot. Then down here, each of these is a different folder broken down by sub-documents. And what's cool about this is all these document names are actually being generated by AI. AI is pulling out the permit number, it's pulling out the date, it's pulling out the kind of smaller documents that make up that case file. And when we click in on it, it's being hosted on Amazon Web Services, which is very affordable. It's the industry standard for local, state, and federal government, and something that gives a lot of flexibility for how the city uses this data in the future. Based on the work on that pilot, as part of the scope, I calculated a budget to digitize the full archive of that same workflow. It came to a total cost of a little over $300 per standard banker box, for a total cost of around $95,000. Based on my research, this is going to be 2 to 3 times cheaper than manual workflows. It will fully integrate the town's existing GIS software, including AccessJS. It will work for all present and future permitting records handled through the online portal. And I think it's kind of an exciting opportunity to use both human and AI approaches to digitize a lot of data while ensuring it's accurate and true. That's all I've got for this presentation, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Wow, John. I'm like so excited. It's amazing.
Yes.
I've gone through all of those boxes dating back to when zoning happened. First came into town in the contemporary in the 66 or whenever it was, tracking all of Dartmouth's permits at one point when I first went to Dartmouth. It took forever. And just to think that you could use AI it's amazing. It's such a valuable tool, I think. Kind of blown away. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Yes. Who knew record keeping could be so exciting? Actually, it's very cool. Thank you. Questions?
I met John, a couple months ago, right? It was probably during the summer when we first started talking about this.
Yeah.
Last year. February of last year. Yeah.
Last year.
February 24 or February 25? 24.
25.
25, okay.
And John, would you mind talking about some of the other kind of value props with this that kind of brought you to this point?
I think, I started this working as a planner, just knowing that planners have spent a lot of time going through historic paperwork, especially with paper records. So I think for this specific use of the technology, I think A is going to free up a lot of floor space at Town Hall. It's from risk angle. Another big one is going to be property history research. I think before doing new construction, being able to go into the historic record, see past work that had been completed there, identify potential conflicts in the past without having to go down and pull the paper files. Those are some of those that come to mind initially.
Yeah, I just remember you talking about basically as zoning changes come up or permits are put in, there's the potential that it would kind of trip opportunities for both the municipality as well as for developers.
Oh yeah, well that's kind of a whole other side of this. So I think by getting all this data into the cloud where it can analyze it, it's going to be able to uncover a lot of new information about development trends in Hanover. So that's everything from looking at like where sustainable energy modifications are being made and tracking that adoption over time, to understanding, where new residential and retail development happens. I think it really kind of unlocks a whole new, much more granular way to study how the town has changed over time, on a project-to-project basis.
Jenny had a question.
Along those lines, would this, I mean, it's very exciting that it's like an OCR PDF. Would there be an opportunity to have more structured data across the properties as well?
Oh yeah, so as part of this workflow, from the scanner, I get an OCR and PDF. Mm-hmm. And the first step of this actually is just to extract that as a JSON.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, so we have the option to basically capture and standardize all this in a much more structured data format.
Cool. And is there a lot of are there like a lot of handwritten notes on these files that you also have to deal with?
Yeah, so actually I have found there's quite a bit of handwriting in the archives. So our LLMs are actually pretty good at understanding handwriting. It's kind of one of the foundational things they were trained on. The good news is most of the handwriting is going to be kind of from old correspondence. So letters of support, letters of opposition, and some internal paper forms. But I'd say the vast majority of the important data, like permit numbers and dates, even in old records, is usually still in print.
Okay. And I mean, I haven't used it for this, but I heard that Gemini is like really great at handwriting, like recently. But are you using just one LLM or are you using multiple LLMs?
Oh yeah, so for this prototype, I mostly used GPT-5 because I have access to a lot of API credits through OpenAI. I think right now kind of a lot changes month to month about which models better than the others. But the good news is with this approach, it's pretty agnostic to using any one LLM over the other. So I think my plan is to kind of just keep experimenting.
And kind of along those lines, could you just walk through a little bit of how you envision the hybrid human AI verification?
Yeah. So I think the big thing there is going to be after I use AI to pull out things like dates, permit, and case number, that's kind of a good opportunity to check and make sure they got accurate, but kind of comparing both those fields against each other, even though they're both AI generated. Hanover's permit numbers use the years in the naming convention. So if I'm able to go through, and I've already found this already, there's some really old cases where the AI read the handwritten permit number incorrectly, but the date's there in print. But I was able to see in the app that there was a mismatch. It will kind of go in and correct that just based on most permits and case numbers having the year in the name. So I think what this looks like is basically this is going to output a big spreadsheet that's going to show what AI is extracted for year, case number, all that. And it's been going down manually, making sure it all matches up. And then as part of that too, I'm still having to hand scan each of these documents. So as a check to verify the tax map ID, verify the case ID.
And is that because of the way they're like in their folders?
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
Julie,
you.
you had a question here.
So I love that the power of connecting all this data to a parcel. I do know, that in terms of, or my observation is that the town is not exceptional at having ArcGIS. They don't really have a person to do GIS, and I guess we can go through this big exercise, but linking it to a data set that's not accurate and not managed by anyone, that I'm just wondering how we address that little bit of a deficiency.
So our GIS system is hosted by Cartographic Associates, and they will sweep John's information into the web-based GIS system. We don't have a person under to make changes to the GIS. However, there is someone on the screen that we're in discussion with the contract to do GIS work, John. So John and I have looking at a year-to-year, for lack of a better term, retainer to do our mapping and update. Civic Atlas is a GIS company.
Okay.
And that's where we are. So what I do want to point out is that this does not deal with the large flat file plans. This is simply the regular bank box style up to 11 by 17s. Most of the flat files, especially Dartmouth's, are now remote stored at the water company. So that was the reason why they were removed. But the flat files are a significant different cost. So we'll figure that out. I do know that in years past, we did have an intern at the DPW, a gentleman named Spencer Kalbaki, who spent the summer scanning documents with their wide scanner. So we do have the capacity to do scanning, but we don't have that built into this budget.
And the project timeline is what?
John, the project timeline, once you given the green light?
Yeah, so I think to get the full archive digitized, I think my rough guess is around 6 to 8 months.
Wow.
Okay.
And this is for FY27?
Already funded.
Oh, it's already funded. Oh, well, awesome. So what do you need from us?
Just want you to be aware that we're making progress on the digitization. It's funded in this 2 years.
I think it's very, very cool. I mean, John, I'm a planner, and this is something that I've talked about. I mean, back in my early days in the North Country, we talked about doing this. Like, wouldn't it be cool if you could just type in the parcel number and get all of the data, you know, the survey information, the permit information. And so to actually see you doing that with AI is amazing. So cool.
Thank you.
And I did note there was a question about when money was set. This was last year.
It was voted on it. If you remember correctly, we put it in the budget for digitization for this past town meeting.
Yeah.
It was funded $200,000, and it was expected to be funded over a 2-year window. So we're going to recover the funds. This pilot is part of that. We will spend $10,000 on the pilot, proving that this will work, proof of concept basically, and then the bank box style scanning will proceed after we sign a contract, and then we need to figure out how we do with the flat files.
Yeah. And John, given how exciting this is, I know this is going to be a big and enduring company. So this is exciting, but do you hand us the keys just in case, God forbid, something happens?
Oh, yeah. All software here will be fully documented, turned over to the city, license perpetuity, so that, worst case scenario, I get hit by a bus. You guys are not locked out of any of this.
don't get hit by a bus. So, all
Yeah.
right. Thank you, John. Any other questions for John?
You have
Yeah.
one,
Oh,
go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, I think it'd be exciting to make sure we also have the JSON files.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if that can be added to the pilot. Just it becomes more usable when you can download stuff across the records.
No, for sure.
Okay. Anything else for John?
There's one individual online with their hand raised. I don't know if you want to recognize them at all. Under attendee, you don't see them up there because they're not on the screen.
I see. Okay.
Is it about, a question about this?
I can chat with them if you'd like. It's the
This was one of the Bressett fund proposals that get denied,
That's right.
remember? Everyone felt that it's not a program that benefited the masses or the Upper Valley community.
I'm curious what, like, the value of the real estate, like the perpetual value of the real estate that we're gonna get back.
We're gonna take back.
Well, right now it's boxes of paper.
Oh, you mean, okay.
Yeah, like how many square feet will we get?
Parcels. We're gonna-
No. I mean, like,
Boxes.
Is
literally
it-
the boxes taking up the
Like,
space in
yeah,
town
is
hall.
that a little
It's
conference
formatted
room?
spaces that you'll see in the report from AG Architects will be repurposed.
Great.
I mean, this is key to that plan. Going up or going out is not possible, and repurposing the space we have is key to it.
Was there a question that surfaced?
He's typing now.
Okay.
I think. Hands no longer raised, so we can move on.
All right, let's move on then. Okay, thank you. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. See you. Okay, next item is the Emergency Management Performance Grant from the State of New Hampshire. So this is, I'm sorry, go ahead, Rob. I was gonna ask you what so this is soft, there's a soft match, and I wasn't quite, so
Do
it's,
half the work.
we
We pay for half the work.
pay for half the work, okay, and then we get a 50% match, okay, great. So this is for $4,500. Is this something that we do every?
Every 5 years.
Okay,
So it's an update to our emergency management plan. And so because of the nature of the grant, it needs to go through this formal recognition by
Don't we contract with the Upper Valley Lake Sunapee region to update it?
Yeah.
Okay, so pay half, the state pays half, and the regional planning agency staff updates it, so it conforms to statutes, right?
Yes, so there may be a third-party consultant involved that is hired by them. The key is that it needs, unlike most grants that can be swept into the consent agenda, this one needs formal action by the board by its nature, so it's on your agenda for that purpose.
does the board have any questions about this action? Or does, yes, Joanna, anything?
You want me to move it so we can discuss
Yeah,
it?
Jenny, you're good to move this?
That's it.
Okay.
Not.
Yes.
I move that the select board approve the terms of the emergency management performance grant as presented in the amount of $4,500 for the LEOP update. So that's the, what does L stand for?
Local.
Local Emergency Operation Plan update. Furthermore, the select board acknowledges that the total cost of this project will be $9,000, in which the town will be responsible for the 50% match, $4,500.
Second. Second. Okay, any further comments or questions? No. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. All right, that passes unanimously. On to dog rates and fees.
As you'll see in your packet, let's go back to share screen so that everybody's viewing the same thing. We ran across a gap in our rates and fees where the statutory requirements for certain elements of the dog under dog nuisance, menace, or vicious dog, our rates and fees didn't mirror the statute. And instead of trying to regularly check the statutes and update the number, we're recommending that we amend the fees to reflect the statutory reference and then let the police department deal with it based on the incidents. So there's first incident, second incident within the 12-month cycle, and their escalating cost. And this will bring us into conformance with the state law and allow us to make sure that we're able to use the resources that the law gives us to prevent, hopefully reduce vicious, menacing, or nuisance dog issues. With that in mind, I'm asking that you set a public hearing for the first meeting in January, which is tentatively, it was not tentatively, it's scheduled for the 12th of January.
So someone has to parse the difference between nuisance, menace,
And if you read the fine print, if as long as the dog is keeping a good calendar, you can bite like up to 3 times annually and not see a big difference in the fine that he was paying.
wow, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the weirdest thing I've ever read.
It's just a question if state law dictates what the rates and fees are, why do we as a town have to also?
You set the rates and fees as a board on an annual basis. And by doing what we've just, where staff is proposing, we eliminate this in this gap.
Can we, instead of mirroring their rates and fees, can we just say that ours will be in compliance with RSA 466:31 alpha?
If you look at the table that's on the screen, you'll see that the proposed simply references that statute.
Okay, got it.
So, yeah.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Brilliant idea.
Here's,
Yes, ahead of the curve. Okay. So we need a motion.
As, wait, what does it say? Hold on. I move that the select board approve to hold a public hearing on the proposed FY 25-26 police department dog related rates and fees as presented for 7 p.m. on Monday, January 12th, 2026.
Rob, the select board meets that.
oh, you need a second.
Oh, yeah, there's
I'll
a
second that.
second, okay, meets that day at 5 o'clock.
Thank you for bringing it. We should probably move this to 5,
5,
that we get it done before the budget federal.
yes.
Okay.
Are you willing to amend?
I will amend the
Okay.
time to 5 o'clock on January 12th, 2026.
Jenny, you ready to vote on this?
Mhm.
Yes, okay, all right, unless there are any further questions or comments, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Yes, okay, passes unanimously, thank you.
Thank you.
Percent fund request for the Howe and Etna public libraries. And this is in the packet, fairly extensive, lots of elements to it. Kind of exciting collaboration between our 2 libraries, first time ever.
They collaborate quite regularly.
It's
The
positioned
summer program
But
though,
this is the first time ever for the summer.
for the summer
reading
program, yes, okay, yes, all right, summer program.
So the-
it sounds like it's an expanded program too.
It is.
compared to what we've done in the past. Is that right?
Yes, because as part of the Bressett Fund outreach, I've asked our department heads to look at options for using this the funds in a way that reflect the purpose and intent of the Bressett Fund. Ruby's team put this together with the assistance of Jeff, and we believe it fits the requirements of the Bressett funds and is a worthy project to put forward for the select board to consider at this time.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, sounds great. Yeah, terrific.
I like the fact that they're working together on this. And with other libraries, it sounds like government librarians, local businesses too. So, can I do this? I can do this, even though it's a rep on the trustees. I move that the select board approve the Bressett Fund request from the Howe Library and Etna Library in the amount of $23,240 to support the 2026 summer reading programs, and forward this recommendation to the trustees of the trust funds.
Second.
Jenny, any comments or questions?
Nope.
Yeah, okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Excellent.
Moving right along.
We are moving right along. Okay. Consent agenda items are select board draft minutes for last week, 8 December, donations to the Etna Library. That's it. Are there any select board members who wish to pull any items out of the consent agenda? We will circle back for thanks on contributions. Yeah, okay, seeing none, is there a motion?
I was gonna add, are the minutes in there? I was gonna add just a name. Does that matter?
Oh, yeah,
Do you want to do that now? Go ahead.
it's Rowan.
Yeah. Roan Wade, ROAN, and then Wade, WADE, is a Dartmouth student.
On page 2 of
On
4
page-
minutes.
Yeah.
Okay,
And if I could add one more thing, just the article in the bike walk section about pedestrian fatalities increasing. It's when Vision Zero policies do not lead to action. That was sort of the relevant and substantive part of the article.
all right, Rob, did you capture that? Yeah, okay. All right, thanks, Jenny. Anything else? Nope. Okay, then the consent agenda stands with that amendment. Ready? Did you move? Yeah, you did. Yes, okay, thank you.
seconded,
Yes, you
yeah.
did. All right, we're ready to vote. Let's go. All those in favor? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And with special thanks for donations to the Etna Library, donation of $2,275 from Virginia Stillman Kirshner, $1,000 from Adrian Moriff and Greg Morris, $100 from Margaret Bragg, $100 from Jane Mack. Thank you very much for your support of the Etna Library.
How does that money get allocated to projects? Is it just like a general fund and used at will, or is it budgeted and it offsets the budget? Like, where do the donations?
That's
Like-
a great question.
Well, that's, you know, that's,
I will,
$3,500 this week. I mean, they've been very successful about it.
but I'll get back to the board.
I mean, because
And answer them.
yeah, because I mean, if people wrote checks to the select board and to do, it's like, well, no, we have to raise it in the budget. Right, we have to identify how the money is being spent. And so I'm just wondering, as a town library, how does that work? I know how Howe works, you know, they have a corporation and they manage their donations accordingly. And you know, their list of donors, it's quite extensive, but it's a private corporation. But this is a town entity. just wondering how that money is. I'm sure it's straightforward, I just was wondering.
This is where I would turn to Ellen if she were here and ask.
Yeah. We love having Ellen at our meetings.
I gave her, she wanted to come for the Bressett fund, and I told her it wasn't necessary.
No, we did, I think the one thing that neglected to, in terms of the trustees of trust funds, and the Bressett funds, I think it's really important that this gets forwarded
Yep.
in a timely fashion to the trustees
There
in
was a gap
advance
in
of the
there, yeah.
January meeting, yeah.
There was a gap in our process, and I own that, so we'll take care of it.
And they will be meeting in January and letting us know what funds are available for FY27.
Very good. Let's turn now to, unless Rob, you have anything else, we'll turn to select board reports. And Jenny, maybe we'll start with you if you're okay with that.
Yeah, I have nothing to report.
Okay.
Nothing to report.
Nothing to report. The Sustainable Hanover meets on Wednesday here at 8:30 to 10:30, and Howe Corporation has a meeting on the space planning work that's been ongoing on Thursday afternoon at 4 to 5:30. I think that's, so they're coming up, but nothing else to report.
Let's see, there was a Hanover Finance Committee meeting on the 11th. It was kind of focused on town side of things, nothing that you all don't know about. So Ellen was in attendance and spoke to the budget process. There was a CIPC meeting on Friday. And Jenny, you should feel free to jump in here as well. So part of it was moving forward on the report, the actual report of the CIPC. So it was a little bit of process. There was background that Pete gave with respect to the town of Hanover's renewable objectives and the role of the solar arrays in that plan. That was very helpful. Anything else, Jenny, we should mention about the CIPC meeting?
No, I think it's just an ongoing discussion as we're developing the process and trying to incorporate more years and think strategically about capital and how and just how all of the master plan goals are being addressed as we consider new projects, which has been an ongoing process, and the department heads have been filling out how they see their investments fitting in with the plan. I'm still looking forward to our sustainability coordinator someday. And tying this all together and thinking about how we're growing. I think there were just a lot of questions, a lot of people who are on the committee for the first time this year, or a couple of people. So there's questions about how does this work as a sort of a strategic planning committee.
Yep. Okay. All right. That's good characterization. Thank you. And Rob, you were there too. Anything you'd want to add on the CIPC?
Not on CIPC.
Okay. Anything you'd like to add on any other?
One more thing. I just wanted to, the one thing that happened last week is the Hanover Conservancy Executive Director, Adair Mulligan, retired after 15 years of service. And she was appropriately feted. But part of that was the incredible partnership that the town of Hanover has had with this nonprofit, that's 60 years old, working really closely with town staff, Rob and Julia Griffin and Vicki Smith and others, and Pete Kobaki in terms of our staff. commendations were also made for our Conservation Commission and the amazing number of volunteers who have committed to helping make conservation happen here and the trail work and just the partnerships that happen. So, which just really ties in really nicely with our sustainable master plan, you know, in terms of all the work that was done. So her replacement was named Barry, who really articulate, has moved to the area, has been working with Adair for 2 years. And as I was talking to him, he was so happy that he has found the job that he wants to retire from. So it's pretty exciting. And he's younger, he's young. He's younger. So it's really fun to celebrate. There were people who've served on planning board and conservation commission and trust for public lands. There was a huge contingent of people there, and it was a really nice event. So kudos to
Very
them.
well attended.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it was an appropriate send off for all her hard work.
Thank you, Adair, and welcome, Barry. Okay, thank you for sharing that.
So the one comment that I would like to, Jenny triggered it with her comment about tracking the master plan implementation. And one of the things that John Devine and I are working on is actually dashboard development for Selectboard OKRs, transparency in the budget, and the master plan.
Wow, fantastic.
So that's where we're at. You know, it'll be on Power BI, akin to what we used for assessing. And the idea with the budget database would be an overview of how the tax dollars are spent, you know, school, county, state, town. Click on the town, it breaks it out by department. And then we're looking at figuring out how we can update quarterly what we've done during that cycle so that people can look in real time and see how the budget is playing out.
Fantastic.
I loved it.
Yes, that's super exciting, super exciting. What access does staff have to different GPTs or?
I'm sure they're all using the free one right now. We're in the process of trying to figure out how we integrate AI in municipal government. We're looking, I shouldn't say we're not in the process. It's being used for police and fire report currently. It's baked into the software that they have. It eliminates the human error and it's reports in real time. I use Grammarly, so Grammarly has suggested changes, which is AI based, and Microsoft Office does. But we're looking at ways we can do more with it. I know that Lebanon has embraced it fully and spends, I think, about $25,000 annually for software options. I would hope to be able to have a chat bot on our website so you could ask it a question and we go look for it. I'm hoping to do some other streamlining of processes. Some of the things that we're thinking about longer term would be AI plan review for building code compliance that would then be vetted by our team to expedite that process, even though it's fairly quick already. And then we're looking at creating a newsletter template that allows department heads to just enter, you know, what's happened for that month, and it pulls it in and restructures it for a newsletter.
Great, exciting stuff. Thank you, Rob.
Yeah.
We should send you off to one of those seminars more often. I know it didn't come from there.
There is something called Innovate US,
Okay.
which is an entity that focuses exclusively on this, and it's a nationwide program. So we're going to try to tap that organization and Lebanon, before Sean left, was trying to host a training session for regional municipal managers, but that fell by the wayside.
Thank you. That's exciting. Unless there are other items, we have need of a non-public. So we will end the public meeting. Jenny, don't go anywhere.
You want to talk about your email you sent me?
Oh, yes. So I have, and I'll send it to you, Jenny, as well. I have a draft of what could be a letter to the editor of the Valley News, and I'll send it to office as well. But I'd like you all to take a look at it and see if you're comfortable with it. We could send it or something like it or not. Do you have it to send to Jenny?
I'm working on it.
Okay, so it's coming your way, Jenny. You'll take a look at it, hopefully in a minute, but
Gone to Athos and Jenny.
okay. So take a look at it. It's really discussing the decision that we took last week with respect to the fair and impartial policing ordinance. Why, some of the factors that we took into account in making that decision. And it meets the 350 word guideline for a letter to the editor for the Valley News.
I can share it.
Sure. Well, you're all reading it. Yeah, you could put it up if you want. Yeah.
I mean, thanks for sharing the Boston Globe piece, Jared.
Yeah, no problem. Somebody shared it with me. I had no idea.
Yeah. I shared it with a couple of our state reps too. As I talked to them about, the whole voting and what happened there.
Why?
I mean, I have the same concern that I had before, in that the 106P is not about not hindering cooperation. It's about the select board. This is like a little bit of a language thing, right? The select board can't direct the police. It's pretty close. Sorry, I'm just reading this, so just off the top of my head.
Take your time.
Well, I guess maybe give us context, Carrie, like why you feel we have to do this, because it feels like there was an article, there was a piece in the Globe. We had several public hearings, and so I guess maybe give us.
Sure.
Explain to me why you want to do this.
Yeah. So I think that there is a constituency out there that maybe questions, or doesn't fully appreciate why we did what we did, and this goes through some of our decision making, and that on balance, I don't mean to speak for the board here. You all should chime in, but I think on balance, we felt that this was the better thing to do, given the alternatives. And some of the benefits of having a legal, fair, partial policing ordinance on the books. So that was the rationale.
Okay.
If you'd like, I can read this. Would you like to read this?
Yeah, I mean, some of the things that just give me pause are like using words that are not in RSA 106P, like under arrest or in jail or for other criminal matters, when they're really talking about inmates in custody. And then the other bit is it's not mentioning other state laws or constitutionality in the same area, which seems important. Like, I already find it a bit awkward that we're mentioning one RSA and not all of the RSAs that apply to detention. and we're not mentioning, the Fourth Amendment.
So,
It's only one.
So part of it is we're at 343 words here and the text, and there's only so much real estate you have. And you're right, this is, it's more detailed, it's more technical, but it's hard to put that into sort of a letter that's sort of readable, sort of plain English. So it's a balancing act when you're trying to keep it to a word limit. But I'm happy to take, if we do want to go forward with something like this, I'm happy to take edits.
Well, I mean, I think it's also fine if you're sending something that's just not from the select board,
Well, I think
Yeah.
what you're saying is you want to send it from the board to put it out there.
Don't have to, I could send it as a, just as myself, but I would rather, given that we're talking about it, if this is something that select board feels is comfortable and valuable, I would probably want to put select board chair, but not without your endorsement. So if you're not comfortable with this, we won't do it.
Oh, I think you have to, the Valley News's policy is if you are an elected official, that they reference that when you publish any kind of letter. But it's still you speaking for you. You just are also the select board chair, right?
Yep.
I guess that I see this as a first reading. I don't feel like I need
Absolutely
to
fine.
think it over.
I
So maybe,
wanted to bring it to your attention.
Yeah.
And would love to get feedback from all of you. And if it's a good idea, if you're supportive, we'll go forward. And also happy to table it if we don't think it's going to be a productive exercise.
There is an alternative approach that the board agrees to a document that we could use to send out to the individuals who question the action of the board without necessarily publishing the letter. So we're using the same response over time, but not necessarily waving the red flag in front of the State of New Hampshire legislature or the federal government.
That's certainly another approach. Yes. Okay with that too. So why don't you have it, think about it, and
take it up in January.
we'll take it up in January, or you could, if you want to, if it's small edit, we don't want to be in a position of discussing policy, but if we're making minor edits to a document, that's probably okay.
Well, based on what Rob just said, I think we should take it up as an issue in January and not, we can send edits as individuals to you.
Yeah.
Or comments to you, but I think as a board, before we, put it in the Valley News, and although the readership doesn't necessarily include the Globe or New York Times, it could get picked up, and what does that mean?
Right.
And is that a good thing? Is that a celebration that, we made a statement, or is it a target?
Fair enough. Good. Okay. Thank you. Rob, anything else?
I have nothing for the board except for the need for non-public. I've reached out to I'm waiting for a response.
All right.
So
So why don't we go ahead and have a motion to adjourn?
I move to enter non-public.
Oh, to move, sorry, yes, to move into non-public.
We need a roll call.
Duty, yes, and we
Pursuant to, so I move to non-public discussion pursuant to RSA 91:1:3, 2A, B, D, E, and L. We need a roll call vote.
I'll second it.
Good, roll call.
Burke, aye.
Callahan, aye.
Whitcomb, yes.
Chamberlain, yes.
Okay,
We're in public, non-public.
yes, all right.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Dick. Thank you. Coming.